welcome to this session. We're going to start standing and I'm going to hold the ball in my hands and just think about breathing. So breathing is very connected to our muscles. So we need to make sure that we can feel the breath in the right places. If you're breathing in your chest and top of the chest, it's a very shallow breath. So we're trying to breathe into the ribs and around the midsection. So a ball can sometimes help, or a cushion that you hold on to. So we're just going to take a breath in, and in Pilates we breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. But if you're standing still, you can breathe in and out through your nose. So I'm going to just stand still and just breathe. So breathe in and then breathe out. And just see if you can feel where the ball is. So the breath is around where the ball is. So breath in and then breathe out. One more breath. Breathe in and then breathe out. Good. And then we take the ball to the side. You can place it on the floor if you like. And then starting to work with balance and starting to look at all our alignments. So I got a chair here. I'm just going to flip it to the side so I can use it. So I'm holding onto the chair and I'm going to start to lift one leg up. And it's okay to just, we're not thinking too technical. We're just going to lift one foot off the floor and just see what happens with the rest of the body. Are you leaning lots into the chair? We can have a light pressure, or maybe not holding the chair at all. So we just let the knees lift and see if we can move without supporting from the arms and from the rest of the body. So just legs midsection down. Good. So that's our walking. Okay, and then we're going to bend the knees. We're going to do something called footwork in Pilates. So I'm going to bend the knees forward. So they softly push forward, which is then a calf lengthening exercise. So heels are pressing down and the knees are coming forward, and then lift and push the knees back. So I'm using my muscles behind the knees and then pushing the knees back. So just nice and soft. At the same time, I'm just letting my tailbone drop a bit. So I'm lifting up. It's not a squat. A squat is different. We're pushing there and then coming back. So right now I'm just bending the knees and then lifting back up again. Okay, adding a bit of coordination, adding the arms. So I'm going to lift the arms up to shoulder height. Then I'm going to bend the knees forward. I'm going to bring the arms up and then pushing the arms back, and knees come back in position. So knees, lifting the arms, and then pushing the arms forward and the knees come back. Let's do two more. And then push forward. So lift the arms, knees are bending, and then come back. And now adding a bit of challenge. So lifting the heels. So hold on to the chair if you need it. Okay, and then we lift both heels off the floor and then place the heels down. If you find that, okay, suddenly your ankles are starting to get really wobbly. Okay, this is where the ball comes back in again. So ball, tennis ball, softball, spiky ball, anything like that. You can press between the ankles and then we lift up and then place the heels down. So first of all, I got the ankles pressing as I'm lifting up. And then place the heels down. I'm going to turn on my stomach muscle. I'm going to squeeze into my stomach so I can add the squeeze of the stomach into the exercise. Okay, so you've got to lift now, and then I'm going to add the heels and the knees moving. So we got heels going down, we bend the knees, stomach muscles scoop in, lift up, float the heels, heels go down, knees go forward. So at the same time, I'm pressing into the ball and just making sure the ankles are not moving in and out. Okay, so that is working into footwork in Pilates, and then adding arms. So the arms would be lifting up to shoulder height, lifting up at the same time as you lift the heels, bringing the arms back, bringing the heels back, bend the knees, and then stretch out the arms and stand tall. So do it again. So stomach muscle squeeze, lift the heels of the floor, pressing in, lift the arms, and then taking the arms all the way up, place the heels down, bend the knees, and then lifting back up, and then taking the arms back down again. Now we're going to use the chair. So I'm placing the ball to the side for now. You might need it. So placing the chair in a comfortable position. I'm going to start so you can see me from the front. I'm just sitting up tall into the chair, and I'm going to do something called a cat move. So it's a curve of the spine. So, or pelvic tilt, because it's moving the pelvis too. So we pull the stomach muscles in. I'm going to just let my head and chest soften, and I'm going to lift back up again. So just a bend through the back and then lift back up again. So from the side, it looks like this. So sitting tall, not using the chair right now, and then letting the body curve forward and then lift back up again. So stomach muscles are going to pull in, so I create that curve in the back, and then the chest softens, and I'm lifting back up again. Now where's the breath? I'm going to breathe out. I'm going to breathe in to lift back again. Breathe out, scoop the stomach muscles in, and then lift back up again. One more time. The breathing can be done in different ways here because we're not adding a lot of weight, so we can do the breath in the opposite way too. But today, just right now, I'm using that breath. So stomach muscles scoop in, head and chest come forward. Okay, now the ball or a block or something, a cushion behind your back is going to make a difference, because now I'm going to focus on the other direction. So hands behind the head or just hands down by your side. You can check if you're happy with your hands here, with shoulders. Now keeping the hips still and the ribs, and then we're going to lean the other way. And then I'm going to lift up with the head and chest and then come forward. So now it's a thoracic spine, and we're going to let the movement flow a bit. So I'm opening the chest and I'm curling, allowing the fingers to slowly just glide on the back of the head. And again, open and let the chest and head just move into this nice soft curve. Okay, let's do 2 more here. So we curl forward and then lift the chest, open, and then 1 more time. So curl forward and then lift up, nice and tall to the spine. So we come back to seated as you're standing. So now we're going to use those glute muscles. So coming back up to standing, I need to use my glutes. I push my feet far enough underneath. I can support pushing from the chair, lift up, and then come back to standing. So we need to wake up your glute muscles before we do that exercise, lifting up and down. So buttock muscles, very important for balance, because you need to turn them on to balance, one leg or both heels floating, and also when we are sitting up and down or walking up and down stairs. So I'm going to push the hip back now. That's called a squat, and then lifting, coming forward. So just finding your hip bend with your angles. So the hip is pushing back, and I'm squeezing the buttocks, the glutes, to lift the hip back in position. So for some of you, it might not be as easy as it looks. It's just getting the body to understand certain angles and movements are not always, straightforward. So we are imagining that we're sitting on a chair. Well, then might activate our muscles, because that's what we need when we sit down. So I'm now going to use that chair for that exercise. If you need more height, you place more on top of the chair. I'm going to now place the feet under. I'm going to try to sit on the chair. And then when I squeeze the buttocks, I'm going to lift back up again. So I'm leaning forward, so I get a bit of support from the upper body. Stomach muscles, always a little bit of core. And then lift, coming back again. So your buttock muscles need to squeeze, and then need to push, and then lift back up again. So let's do about 3 here. So we push down, and then squeeze, lifting back up again. I'm not going down to the chair. I want to sort of imagine it's there, and that's going to help me activate the right muscle. So both legs hopefully doing the same. Now we're going to actually sit down. We're going to do a side reach. So I'm going to just turn the chest, you can see. So nice, feet and knees just slightly separated. I'm going to lift one arm up towards the ceiling, and then I'm going to reach into the side. So I separated the feet a bit so I get more support from the legs to move. So arm reaching, and then come back, lift the arm, and then return the arm. So here I can use my breathing again. I can breathe in, and then breathe out. Breath in, and then breathe out again. So you can see I'm changing my side reach slightly, which is okay. You just need to move and just see if that movement feels okay for you, around your shoulder, around your chest, and then pushing down into the hip. So we'll also need to do that exercise standing, so we get more of the hips moving right now. It's just see if you have the flexibility to lift the arm and then move around the shoulder. Okay, now the hands are going to go behind the head, and we're going to curl forward. So we're going to let the chin roll in towards the chest and let the elbows push towards your knees, and then we're going to lift back up again. So let the elbows fall down towards the knees. Don't collapse though, we're still using muscles in your back, and supporting from the front as the elbows drop, and then lift back up again. A couple more here, so we just let the body find a curve in the spine, and again push forward and then lift back up again. So we're going to come up to standing again. I like keeping the movement going, so we now use those buttocks again. Place the feet close enough underneath, not too far away, it's going to be hard to lift up from there. So close enough, quads and buttocks, use your hands if you need to, and then lift up, pushing from your feet. So we're coming into circles. So I'm just going to place the chair away. So if you need your chair, please use it. If you don't, stand still. Okay, stand without it. So we're taking the hands onto the hip, and we're going to start to stir and then rotate into the hip socket. So now I need that balance through the standing leg. So if you need to hold on to something, place your hand out. Okay, if it feels okay, I got this, then stand tall and just see if you can get the leg to circle and stir inside the hip socket, but keeping everything else still. Okay, that's our trick. We do 2, we do 1, we step together. We can do a footwork one, so we bend the knees, push the knees back, and then change side. So starting to rotate in your hip socket. Okay, so if you can get the foot to float, feels a bit wobbly, the foot can slide, or you can hold on to something and make sure you're stable. So everything else staying still. And the way we achieve stillness is using our breath and connecting muscles. So I'm going to breathe into the ribs. I'm going to breathe out. I'm going to feel those stomach muscles squeeze to support this balance work. 2 more here. So circle round, and then place your feet together and then bend. And then we lift back up again. Now comes the side reach standing. So we stand tall, lifting up. So head, rib cage and hips are stacked on top of each other. Arms down by your side. Stand tall. Don't lock your knees. And then we lift the arm up towards the ceiling. And then we go into our side reach. Lift back up again. And then taking the arm back down. So we float. The palm is slightly forward. And then reach into the side reach. Come back. Return the arm. So I'm standing very tall in my spine. I can feel the legs are working. I'm pressing with the heels and toes into the floor. And I got the core, my stomach muscles active too. So lifting up and then into your side reach. Come back and return the arm down. I'm going to do 2 more. So I'm lifting up and reaching into the side. Lift back up again. Taking the arm back down. So if you're okay to move forward, this is now when we're going to move forward. So make yourself even on both sides. If you remember which side you started on, and rolling forward. If you feel, okay, this is way too much for me, I don't want to roll, I feel like I'm falling, hold on to something and just do a soft curl forward and then lift and stand up tall. I'm going to go further down. If you feel like, okay, I got balance. Pressing with the heels and toes, so even out your triangle underneath your feet, soften the knees, and then we curl forward. Let the arms drop by your side. And we can go halfway or we can go all the way down. Depends on how you feel about being upside down. So I'm going to go a little bit further down. So I'm looking towards my bottom of my legs. And then I'm going to lift back up again. Now what we're doing here is mobilizing the spine. So you can see my back is being lengthened. So I need to support from somewhere. So I'm going to support with my stomach muscles. So as I'm coming forward, I'm lifting. Bit of squeeze through the belly. Pushing the heels down. So I've got a bit of support from the back of the legs. And then I'm rolling down, looking towards the knees, towards the bottom part of the feet. And then I'm going to come back, push the hips in position, then the tailbone, the lower back, the mid back and the shoulders, and stand really tall again. 1 more time. So you got to see in your body if this is okay for you, because coming into an upside down position doesn't always mean that you feel comfortable there. So we're trying to lengthen out the back muscles, back of the legs, and then we lift back up again. Stack your hips, your lower back, your mid back, your shoulders, and then push the shoulders back and down. Okay, now coming into a bit of movement up with knees and arms. So we're going to lift the knees up first of all. Okay, we've done that to start with. So we lift the knees up. Okay, coming into your genie position with your arms. I'm going to wrap the hands in front, and then we're going to lift up towards those elbows. So knee to elbow, pushing down, tall through the spine, stomach muscles active. So lifting up, pushing down, They are okay. Stomach muscles active. And a bit of leg work. Good. Couple more. And then we're going to take the arms out to the side. We're going to be both arms. So we're going to lift up both arms up. And then taking both arms down. So floating arms lifting up towards the ceiling. And return. So we breathe in. And then breathe out to take them down. If the breath feels like too much to think about, just make sure you breathe somewhere. Don't hold your breath. So we lift up and we hold it. And we stretch both arms out to the side. We lift back in the middle. And we reach both arms to the other side. And then taking the arms into your shoulder height position. Okay, you can start feeling your arms now. Okay, so we're going to let the arms come forward. We're going to bend the elbows. We're going to turn the palms towards me. Going to lift back up again. Good. So we're going to take them forward. Bend the elbows. This is called windows. Lift. And then reach up towards the ceiling. So now your arms and shoulders will have to do a little bit of work. And just checking our alignment. We lift up. Arms in front. Tall to the spine. Bit of squeeze off your buttocks. Lift up, drive the fingertips up towards the ceiling, take them forward, bend the elbows, turn, and then lift back up again. And just take your arms down, okay? Relax your shoulders, and then take them all the way down towards your sides. Good. Okay, now we're just working a little bit more with our hips. So we want to do the squat again, okay? So we step a little bit wider. You're pushing the hips away, and then you lift back up again. So we get that squeeze again of buttocks. And then lift back up again. So if you feel good with your balance, you're now going to add a step. So we go down and then we step, come back together, lift, and then step together, squeeze. Okay, if you found a rhythm and it feels good to move, okay, just add a bit more pace. You don't have to be super slow. We're just testing where we are. So the hips are pushing away, knees are not moving too far forward. Step back, step together, into a squat. Lift, step back, step together into a squat. Okay, now I'm adding a bit of pace. So we step, squat, and step, and squat, and step, and squat. Can we keep going? Okay, see if we can find those positions in our hips and spine. So step in back from your squat, and then adding a bit of coordination. It's good for our brain. Okay, let's do two more. And step, and squat, and step. Okay, can you remember which side you started on? I can't. So I'm going to do one more. Pushing back, step together, and then shake out the legs. Now just stretch things out a bit. If you're going to do, I'm going to show you some stretches. Hold on to something. Front of the leg, if you're happy to lift your foot off the floor, you're holding on to the ankle. We just let the knee drop down. So that's our front of the leg being lengthened out. So support, holding onto something. And we just let it stay there for a couple of seconds or so, just to make sure you relax into the leg. Change leg. So hold on to something, hold on to the ankle, and then breathe out and let the knee drop. So that would be the lightest version. I'm not doing anything extra. I'm just holding on to the foot and letting the front of the leg here lengthen out. Then we're going to step forward for calves. So we're going to step 1 foot forward and then push the hip back. I'm still holding on to the wall or to something. And if you lift your toes and reach for your toes, you can feel it starting to lengthen things on the back of the leg. Now, if that feels okay, a little bit too wobbly for me, this one, you're going to step together. You're going to step back instead. So we take the foot behind, pressing the heel into the floor and decide how far forward you're going to push, because then we also get that same lengthening feeling in the back of the leg. Okay, change leg. We can test the first version first. So we're taking the 1 foot forward. We go into the squat off the back leg, lift your toes, lean forward, stomach muscles active, reach down. If it feels okay, a little bit too wobbly here, you lift up, step together, and then taking the foot behind you, pressing the heel into the floor, and then, same kind of feeling of length on the back of the leg. Okay, well done. We step together. Last thing we do is corkscrew arms. So we're going to lift the hands up behind the head. We're going to lift the shoulders up to your ears. You're going to drop the shoulders down. You're going to lift the arms up. And then we're going to take the arms back down again. So I'm going to bring the hands back. I'm now going to breathe in. So breathe in, lift. Breathe out, drop the shoulders, lift the arms. And then taking the arms down by your side. One more time. So lift the hands, lift the shoulders, breath in, drop the shoulders, and then lift the arms, reach up towards the ceiling, and then taking the arms back down. Okay, good. Nice and tall to the spine. That's where we want to end up, with strength to the legs, hips, shoulders, and arms.